Thunder are expected to be without superstar Russell Westbrook for the start of training camp. The team announced on Wednesday the former MVP underwent arthroscopic knee surgery on his right knee. He's expected to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. According to the Thunder, Westbrook was experiencing inflammation in his knee this past weekend. But it's the Seattle Storm in a sweep. We'll have more on Russell Westbrook
champs
later.
are here.
The Storm are WNBA champions.
I'm upset.
You seemed upset. Hang on, I was just going to give you a good intro. Don't say anything yet, okay? Don't say anything yet, because we have a guest analyst with us who knows a little something about the WNBA Finals. She's upset right now that she is a two-time champion herself. Renee Montgomery spent this season with the Atlanta Dream after winning championships in 2015 and 17 with the Minnesota Lynx. All she does is win, folks, truly. She was drafted 4th overall in 2009 after winning the national championship with the UConn Huskies as well, and rocks my very favorite number, 21.
Nice.
Welcome, Renee. I'm glad to catch you on a night that you're in a bad mood.
I'm upset, Uncle Dennis. I'm upset.
You upset?
I'm upset.
No, I get it.
Welcome.
Okay, because you don't want to lose to the team that goes on to get swept in the final.
It sounds way better for like, oh man, yeah, we lost to Seattle. They went on to win the championship. They killed everybody. You know, you don't want to say that who you lost to, the losers. You know, like.
But you have to be thinking it's all about the matchups as well, right?
It is. Any sports is about matchups, but still, when you see that, could we get 4 games?
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted 5, but the sweep, I'm upset.
But when you're watching that, see, for me, I only made it to 1 finals. You have 2 rings. So when you're watching those ladies go through that, how can you compare that tension?
Well, I went to 3 finals straight, so this is my first. There's a lot of reasons I'm
there
upset.
You go, see?
I'm upset. But no, it's just seeing a situation that you think you could have done things in, and you see a team that, they beat us outright in a 5-game series, but you just see that situation and you're just like, oh.
You get so close, you want to go back again.
Yeah.
You get a little greedy, right?
You want to be there. Like, you start to think, man, I think we could have gave Seattle a run. You start to go through your minds like, I think against us, they wouldn't have been able to do that. And you start breaking it down, and then you see what happened, and you're like, man.
But one of the things that so many analysts said all season of your team is that you were ahead of schedule, not expected to be as good as you were already this season. But you've got the Coach of the Year, the Basketball Executive of the Year.
What up, Chris?
You now have Tiffany Hayes as first-team All-WNBA as well. What does that say about the culture that's being created here?
It says a lot. A lot of people didn't think we would basically gel and mature that fast. For the outside world, that looks great to y'all. For us, I felt like we were there. A lot of things lined up. You have some big dogs in Minnesota and LA that didn't make it. And so you start looking at the road to the finals and you're like, we can do this. And, every year, you never know. We were healthy, except for Angel, she tore ACL, but certain things have to fall into place to win a championship. And it started looking like things are starting to fall into place for us. Whether we're a year early, 2 years early, you start to get that feeling like this can happen. And then so you get upset.
And you talk about that feeling. When you went into training camp, did you see the team to Kristen's point, did you see it, or was it a gradual growth that this team is coming together, we're going to do something special? I
started to see it in training camp, and I started saying this thing. I said, something's brewing here. I said it to my coach. We would have ugly days in training camp like everybody else, but when we look good, boy, did we look good. And I'm like, because I grant you, I'm coming from a championship team.
That's right. That's right.
You know what it takes. You know what it looks like.
I know what talent, you have to have a certain level of talent to be good in this league.
Right.
So I knew we had a certain level of talent. Then I started seeing things happen where people are gelling and people are excited for each other. So I'm like, something's brewing here.
Tell me about that feeling right there.
Yeah.
Tell us about that feeling.
Stick the dagger in
there. What's that? Tell us about that feeling now.
That's
the trophy
Auntie
feeling.
Borders right there. I love her and what she's done with the league. It's great. But just, for the game of basketball that's going on, the 5-game series for both semifinals, you can't write the script any better. So I wish it would have been more games, but a storyline for Birdie.
Yeah.
She's been through a lot of bad years to get here.
Right.
Seattle has been number 1 from start to finish this season. So no one can say, wow, they were number 1 from probably 3rd game of the season, and no one was close.
And she stayed with it, had opportunities to go elsewhere, decided to stay with that franchise and win them another one.
And that's huge.
They are receiving their championship trophy right now. The Seattle Storm have not only defeated the Washington Mystics, they've swept them 3 games to
I see you,
none
Huskies.
in the WNBA Finals. That's right. It must be surreal.
There's so many of y'all.
I bleed blue.
So many.
Yeah, it's the UConn Mafia out there. So claps to my Huskies.
Yes.
There was the 3 Husky hug right there. Coach Ariema is at the game. CD's at the game. So I'm happy for them, but I'm still upset.
Well, you know how that feels, to hoist the trophy, to celebrate with your team, but you said it, you've also lost in the finals. What are the Washington Mystics feeling right now?
It's tough because, you try to, after the game, you're going to hear all kinds of things like, wow, we overachieved, no one thought we should be here, and then you're still sitting there like, I don't care.
Wow.
Like, you honestly don't care. It sounds nice. Like I said, it's good for the media write-ups, but when you're sitting there in the locker room and you think about, we were this close to winning the championship, all that, you matured it doesn't matter. When we lost in the semifinals, it didn't matter. Like, oh, we had a great season. I wanted to win.
Which of those feelings is more vivid to you, feels more fresh? Do you remember winning one or do you remember losing one?
I remember that buzzer beater loss.
Ooh.
That putback.
Still hurts, huh?
I'd rather lose by 20. Honestly, me, I'd rather lose by 20. Don't let me lose on a buzzer beater where now I'm going to start thinking of every play I messed up. Like, wow, if I made that free throw, wow, if I missed that, like, you know what I mean? I didn't miss my defense assignment, something. So that Nneka Ogwumike.
Yeah.
Nneka Ogwumike.
It's something about us as athletes. We remember every little minimal thing of a play of a loss, especially when it's that close.
You've been part of a moment like that as well. Do you still remember it as vividly all these years later?
Of course. No matter what happens, people bring up the final.
He's like, thanks for bringing it up.
Rip your bad
I know where I was.
I gotta be upset.
I know I missed that shot. I know I missed that wide open three.
You gotta be upset too. Ask him about it.
No, don't ask me about the final. Don't ask me about it. They had to call Kenny Smith. You gotta bring Kenny up. No, leave it alone.
Refresh my memory.
No, I forgot. I'm old now. I'm 50. I got amnesia now.
He is 50 now. He turned 50, this week, right?
Last week.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday. Truly, though, what is it that team is feeling when you reach the pinnacle of the finals and then you still feel let down?
She hit it around the head. Back in '95, we went to the finals. We got swept by the Houston Rockets. And every time we think about it, it's like, yes, could we win one game? Could we win 2 games? But at the end of the day, you know that feeling right there. That's the feeling we play for. That's the feeling at the beginning of training camp, the sore knees, the elbows, the icing down. This is why these young ladies have played hard all season long. And like you mentioned, for Seattle being at the top of the heat all season, going through the injuries, going through the downtimes, and still be able to have enough energy at this point in the season to win the whole thing.
We've been told that Breanna Stewart has also been named not only the league MVP, but the finals MVP as well. And she joins some pretty elite company to have done both in the same season. I mean, goodness.
Some bad girls right there.
From the very start of the league itself. What is it, Renee, about her game that makes her so dominant inside and out?
Other than the fact she's a unicorn. So I love that term because, you have like the Kevin Durant type unicorns. And she's one of those. How many threes did she hit this game? I don't know, but it's the fact that she can hit a three, then she can take you on the block. Then she can dribble coast to coast. I mean, if she gets the rebound, you got to get ready. It's not like she's going to have to outlet it to another guard to start the fast. She is the fast break.
Yeah.
And that's scary at a 6'4", 6'5" frame. Her wingspan, I think is 7'1". Yeah. That's scary.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And for me, ladies, that I had a chance to meet her coming out of high school with her and Shabazz Muhammad were the high school players of the year. And she's a Husky, 4 years in college, carrying it over to the WNBA and playing at a very, very high level. So to me, you're right. She's a unicorn because the bullseye's on her back and she keeps performing year after year. Now we're not surprised.
How valuable, though, for you now as a veteran in this league, how valuable has it been for her to be teamed up alongside Sue Bird, who is not only a veteran in this league, the oldest player in this league, and a perennial champion?
I think things like that go unnoticed. Birdie doesn't have to score 1 point for Seattle to be great. You've seen it in the semifinals. She broke her nose, and instantly Phoenix came. I mean, a 7-point deficit. Instantly, the team dynamics are different, and it's that impact that she has on the court, that calmness she has, that in the huddles. Maybe if everybody's uptight, saying a little joke. I think I heard her say a couple jokes already in the timeouts. She grabbed the board one time and dribbled play, but it's just that calmness that now it's a talented player who is still relatively young, that now she doesn't have to worry about all the other stuff. Birdie basically helps you understand what you need to do in that moment, and then you can just go out and play free. So, I mean, this season alone has been I don't want to call it a coming out because she's been great, but whenever you become an MVP type of player, and we know she could have, I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah. What, though, do you think made the difference this year? Because you said you don't want to call it a coming out because she has been great. But what, though, was the difference this season?
I think consistency. It always helps when your team is good. Last year, Sylvia Fowles was the MVP. We were the #1 team. It helps when your team is good because then you're in the limelight. But that's also harder when your team is good because now you're going to get everybody's A game. We know when we play Seattle, there's certain things that we have to do against Breanna Stewart. If you don't know anybody's scout, you better know Breanna Stewart's scout. You better know, so she's that player on the scout. So to consistently be the player that everybody's scouting against and to consistently perform, I mean, that's when you can tell a player is great, when they can still put up the numbers and still do exactly what you didn't want them to do, essentially, and make it look easy.
Well, you talk a lot about Birdie and the time that she's spent in this league. She's a champion yet again, and our Roz Gold on Woodie is on hand. She caught up with her after the game.
Congratulations, Sue. You've now won championships in 2004, 2010, now 2018. The first two, it took a 6-year wait. The last two, 8-year wait. How difficult is it to get to this moment and then win?
Very difficult. Clearly very difficult. But when we started this rebuild a couple years ago, we kind of had an idea that maybe it could end up in a championship. Never would I have thought it would happen this quickly. I'm actually speechless. I don't know what to say. It's been an amazing season, so much fun, and what a way to go out, with a win to complete the year.
And you kind of mentioned it. I mean, just a few years ago, this team was at the bottom of the league. What were some of the most important things you guys had to do to change the direction of the franchise?
We had to kind of start over and start with culture, build that culture, build that foundation. A lot of that had to do with Jenny Busek being here. She did a great job, I think, bringing in the right people to get us going. From there, we all grew up a little bit. We grew up together. When I say grow up, you know who I'm talking about. More so the younger players, not so much myself.
I wasn't going to mention you being the oldest in the league.
But I had some growing up to do also,
How did you grow?
It was a different leadership role. It wasn't about my points or my assists or anything like that. It wasn't about numbers. It was about, just getting this group to follow and trust me and also kind of give them the keys to the car a little bit and let them have ownership of it and kind of share that. It's not just about me, even though I am the oldest. So all in all, it was a couple years, and here we are.
One of your young studs, Breanna Stewart, a #1 pick and now MVP. I mean, what stands out most about the way she stepped up and matured?
Man, what a year. The big difference from this year to her first 2 years is not the skill set. That was already there, right? Yeah, you can get a little bit better at shooting and a little bit better at posting up and that kind of stuff, but she clearly had the skills. It was the mindset, the maturity. She understood that there were going to come points in games where we were going to need her to take over. You saw it in the playoffs. You saw it all throughout the regular season, and that was the difference with her.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Sue. Enjoy.
It's crazy. I don't know what to say.
I don't either.
We're champs. That's all I got.
Oh, man. Look at that. That
Throwback
was
Thursday.
the 2004 championship. She also did it 2010.
Longevity.
I mean,
my goodness.
To have been part of really the story of the WNBA throughout the entirety of it thus far and continuing to write her own piece. But Renee, you made a great point. She had an opportunity to go elsewhere and perhaps, at least experts and analysts would say, she should have. But she stayed. What made the difference?
It's crazy because just even in today's climate, players leave. Superstars leave. It's not, it used to be where you could love a team and love a player and you don't have to choose. Nowadays, do you love a player or do you love a team? Because a fan, they might be a little confused. Like, do you love LeBron or so you love the Cavs, or are you moving with him to Miami now?
Right.
Or Lakers fans.
Great point.
There's, it's a dynamic, but for her, for the Storm fans or fans of Seattle, they never had to choose. She never made them choose. And that says a lot about her because she went through some rough years.
And after she went through those rough years, her leadership, and then Breanna Stewart comes in. How big is that for the organization, for her to be the dynamic player she is and say, hey, Breanna, you go do you, girl, and I'm going to help you be special?
I mean, you know how sometimes you hear people talk about players that deserve it? Mm-hmm. I mean, Birdie deserves it. She, like you said, she's a pioneer, and yes, she's already won 2, but the years where they weren't very good, where she still kept her same composure. She still was the same leader that she is now. I mean, the talent level, you can't win if you don't have talent.
Right.
So you can't fault Birdie for bad seasons. But she was still the same leader and the same person and the same type of player throughout those seasons. And then when she finally got talent, you see what she does with it. Every time she's had a team that has any talent, they're in the finals, they're winning a championship. I mean, wherever she goes, winning follows.
Right, and has continued to elevate the talent around her, which is one of the reasons that Stewie is not only the league MVP, but the finals MVP as well, and Roz caught up with her as well.
Congratulations. You've now won at every single level, high school, college, Olympics. But what's the significance to you to finally win at the WNBA level?
This is the best league in the world, and to be able to be here, to play here, obviously is an honor, but to be able to win and to bring home the trophy, it's nothing better right now.
And you were regular season MVP, you were just voted finals MVP. What was the breakthrough you had personally as a player this season?
Just continuing to make myself better, whether it was the way that I handle myself on the court, off the court, taking care of my body. I just want to bring everything up a notch and just be better than last year.
What are the little things that make people excellent? You said the way you handle yourself, like what?
Doing everything to win. Everything I do on the court when I work out is to win. But also, it's the things that go unnoticed. My diet, the way that I prepare myself, the way that I kind of rehab and recover, especially with this condensed season. It hasn't been easy, but it's what makes you go from great to the best.
Speaking of the best, I can imagine it's probably such an honor to play with Sue Bird. What did she teach you? How did she lead you?
Oh, she's taught me everything, honestly. To be able to kind of watch her career when I was younger and then, come to the same team, be in Seattle with her and just learn from her every second of every day. She's our leader. She's taught me how to be a leader, and now she's taught me how to win.
And I just want to finish it because I feel like it'd be crazy not to give a shout out to Natasha Howard.
Oh my God.
What stands out about the way she has stepped up in this whole series?
The way that she does everything. She does the dirty work. Guarding Elena, obviously one of the best players in this league. Nothing's easy with that, but she did that. She had 29 and 14 tonight. She can make a case for MVP for this series, that's for sure.
Well, you got it. So I'll congratulate you as well and enjoy this. Congratulations on another championship.
Thank you.
That was Brianna Stewart with our Roz Gold on Woody, talking about doing everything all the time to win. The food that she eats, the way that she sleeps, the way that she works out. What does that say about the improvement that we've continually seen on her quest to become now a WNBA champion?
I think you see a pattern with great players, and there's certain things that you start to hear from all of them. The way they eat, the way they train, the way they sleep. Once you start to really figure out being a pro, you start to treat your body as if it's a machine. What fuel am I putting in it? How much, rest does it need? Can it go, because you start to gauge that, my legs were tired today. So you have to readjust it, okay, you're a mechanic basically of your own machine. And this year she really took ownership of her body, what she put into her body, how she took care of her body. And those things quantify into point, we can actually feel a difference. And so you can see, she had an MVP season. She spent the offseason with Birdie. I don't think that's a coincidence. Yeah. I don't believe in that. So I think that she took care of her machine.
Well, it's also the reason, Dennis, that you keep telling these young men and women to take care of their bodies. It's not just because you're 50 now and struggling to walk and sit.
Over here ow. Why is my hip hurting? I'm just sitting still. My hip hurts. I don't know why.
So something to look forward to.
But to her point, and then we've learned about LeBron and Russell, is that the game has changed from back in the 70s and 80s into now 2000s, that where when the season was over, you would take off a whole month and wouldn't do anything. But now in your league and our league, guys are making so much money, you're investing, so you see the real superstars really take great care of their bodies, less injuries, play longer, play deeper in their career. We talk about LeBron James in year 15, one of his best years, taking great care of his body.
Didn't miss a game.
So now you talk about Birdie doing the same thing. You talk about how guys play together in the summertime. Now, Brianna and Birdie together in the summertime. So these people are taking serious care of their machine. You hit it right on the head. Our bodies are machines now. The better our body feels, the better we perform, the better money we make.
Well, speaking of superstars, Elena Deladon had 23 in this one. Christy Tolliver followed her with 22, and those two are now sitting down at the podium.
We'll start front row left. Christy, Elena, congratulations on the season that you both put out. Elena, if I could start with you, and just when you came here, it was with the goal of winning the championship, and you are now 2 years in. I'm wondering where you see the state of the team, how close you think you are, and whether you can see how to get there from here.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great season. I'm super proud of the way we bounced back from a lot of adversity that we faced all season long. Obviously, this finals didn't go the way we wanted it to, but I think the great thing is that we can still improve. We don't feel like we peaked and this was it for us. We feel like we got a lot of young, great talent, and obviously this isn't how we wanted it to end, but it's an experience that we can grow from. So hopefully, everybody goes off to wherever they're going this off season, but continues to improve, get better, and then come back and regroup and build off of this season.
Second row left.
Christy, kind of a similar question. When you look back at this season and the big picture, kind of where do you see it, and kind of your thoughts on just the season overall, not just the series?
A successful one. I mean, you can't be unsuccessful if you're in the finals. So, you have to think big picture, and this team made a lot of great strides from last year into this year. We showed a lot of character this year, a lot of resiliency, coming off after the All-Star break playing really well. And then obviously to make the finals against a really great team. Didn't go our way, but you got to keep things in perspective. And everybody else in the league wishes that they were playing tonight. And so we're very aware of that and thankful that we were here, and we know we can improve, and so we will. That Seattle core has been together for a while outside of Howard. So to me, it kind of reminds me of Minnesota and how they've had their core together and when they made those runs. We're still new. We're still getting to learn one another. So we'll have another year next year, and we'll continue to get better and see if we can get back.
We'll stay in the second row left.
Christy, Elena, your coaches told us that he talked to you guys briefly, saying that he was proud of you and just like what you guys can also improve on. Being the captains, being kind of the veteran leaders, was there anything that you two told the team in the locker room just now?
No, I mean, I think this is a time that you just you reflect. We all know that we're happy and we're proud of where we were at, but we want to be better. And I don't think you have to say that. I think everybody knows. And we're gonna meet tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll all say what we want to say. But for right now, we're just kind of soaking in what happened.
Last row center.
I know it's been tough going to different venues for all these games, but really good crowds and really sort of maybe gives you a preview of what you're looking forward to next year in a real true home court advantage. Is that something that you guys can maybe sort of feed off of and we're really looking forward to as like a day-to-day thing next year?
Yeah, that'll be great, having a home that we can't get kicked out of, hopefully. But both Christy and I have talked about it. We've seen such a growth in our fan base these past 2 years. Not going to lie, it was a little quiet when we first came out for our first game, and now look at it, which obviously winning helps, but we can really create something here, and I think we've really grown this fan base, and they're behind us, they're proud of us, and they know we're not satisfied and we want to do more, but I think it'll be huge, having our own home, our fans will have a consistent place to show up and watch us play. And then, it's a smaller arena, so it'll be loud, crowded, and kind of have that playoff atmosphere all year long.
Second row center.
Elena, you guys started off just getting to know each other as a roster last year. Can you give us a sense of now, 2 full seasons later, how close you guys have become?
Yeah, there's been a huge transformation in the culture of this team. Last year we were brand new. We didn't know, I didn't even know her favorite beer, and that's a pretty important thing to know about Panda. Now I can go to the bar, order her everything she needs, know what I need to...
I'm going to need a lot tonight.
To get her flowing. Trust me, I know, I got you, Panda. But just even certain things like that. Knowing people's favorite musicians, things outside of basketball. Obviously the basketball stuff, like knowing she likes a dribble handoff, knowing she's not a huge fan of the Flares, all that stuff.
Deli, quit telling the secret.
Everybody knows this. They still can't guard you. But yeah, she loves Flares, hates dribble handoffs. But no, just like certain things like that on court is huge, but I think this stuff off court is even bigger. Knowing each other's families, dogs, all that. Wrigley writes her messages on Instagram all the time. Things like that. That's what it's all about. That's where the fun comes, the camaraderie. We're only out there on the court a little bit of time together, but the moments that we spend hanging out in the airport, playing Would You Rather, hanging out, getting dinner together, those are the moments that are so special and what we're actually probably going to miss the most now that this season has ended.
2 more questions. Standing back row left.
Elena, now that the series is over, can you discuss how you were affected by the knee injury?
Yeah, I mean, it was different. I unfortunately wasn't able to practice a lot in the moments that, we had off, so I was kind of trying to figure out my go-to moves as games were going on and just trying to get comfortable finding different ways. I'm a very left-footed player. I like to push off one leg and floaters, step backs, all that off my left leg. So just trying to find a different way to get it done. But I felt more and more uncomfortable as we kept going.
Last question, front row left.
Yeah, for both of you. One hand, from the franchise side, it's building yourselves to be that fierce fighting machine. But this year, the league kind of was setting records for setting records every night, and just seemed like night after night was a challenge, and just how much tougher it is now to go out there and play a full schedule.
Yeah, this league is so talented. Next year there's going to be teams that were super young this year that grew so much throughout the season, and so many teams were knocking on that door just to even get into playoffs. So it's going to be grueling, even more grueling next year than this year. So we know how great the teams are and how much better we have to be. We're not just going to be satisfied that we got here this season. We know we got to improve because everybody else is.
Elena, Christie, thank you. To our media, Coach Hughes is here. We'll begin right away.
The Seattle Storm complete
Champagne
the sweep.
showers.
What that taste like? It tastes good?
No, it's actually nasty.
Don't taste nasty?
And it can
You
get
burn
your eyes.
You burn your eyes.
Be careful.
I had goggles.
I wish I could burn my eyes, girl. Shoot, I got
I goggles.
Shoot.
Goggles.
Burn your eyes. No, burn your eyes. You might not burn them again.
We'll be back with more as Game Time continues. See, you just said it.
There you go,
What happened?
There you go, burn your
Look at
eyes.
her.
There you go. I'm jealous.